Hello, and thank you for taking time today to learn about 10 tips for effective questioning. My name is Monique Castillo from Impact Learning Systems, and in the next 7 minutes, I'll be sharing some tips with you to help you maximize your questioning skills. In the next few minutes, we'll look at the benefits of questioning as well as different types of questions. It's important to know what types of questions to use and how to use them in order to achieve the results you're looking for. So, let's get started. Let's first start off by looking at the benefits of asking questions. Now, questioning enables you to have a two-sided conversation. So when you ask questions, you allow and encourage the person you're talking with to share their thoughts and ask you questions in return. It also allows you to gather information. By asking questions, you are encouraging the other person to open up and share information with you that you might not otherwise know. When you ask the right questions, you're able to gather a wealth of information that can help you achieve your goals and gain insight to the situation or person at hand. Questioning also helps you establish rapport. When you ask questions, you exhibit a caring and concerned attitude. So questioning shows that you are truly interested and that you care. Questioning also helps you control the call. By choosing the right types of questions to ask, you're able to steer the call in the direction you want. So for example, if the call is getting off topic, you can simply ask questions to get back on track. And of course, questioning helps you close the sale. If you don't ask for the business, there's a chance you won't get it. So questioning is important here as well. Now let's look at two very common and important types of questions that you want to use in your conversations. The first are open questions. Now, open questions elicit a larger response and require the recipient to expand on their answer and give you more details. A few examples of open questions are, why did you feel that way? Or, what happened? The next type of questions are closed questions. And closed questions are quicker to respond to, and they're answered with a specific answer or a yes or no answer. Two examples of closed questions are, what time is it? And did you drive to work today? Now, many times you can begin a conversation with open questions to get the receiver to open up and share ideas. Then you can use closed questions to get the specific information that you need. So now let's look at 10 effective questioning tips. Our top 10 questioning tips are, number 1, think your question through before asking it. Think about how your question will be received. Will it be viewed as intrusive? Many times in sales, there are questions that you need answered in order to qualify or help your customer. However, those questions may be very blunt. What you can do is practice asking those questions in a more conversational and friendly manner so your client doesn't shut down or get defensive. For example, if you really want to ask, who really makes the decisions around there? You might try saying something like, is there a team that ultimately decides on the financial goals, or is that something you have to take on by yourself? It's also a good idea to prepare common questions like these in advance in order to help you. Our next tip is be clear and specific. Don't be vague because you won't get the answer you're looking for if your customer or prospect doesn't fully understand what you're asking. You also want to avoid using jargon that the client may not understand. Tip number 3 is to be aware of your tone of voice. Your tone of voice affects how people perceive you and respond to you, especially in sales. Many people already have a preconceived notion about salespeople being pushy, so you really want to make an effort to have a pleasant and caring tone of voice in order to avoid being disregarded from the beginning. Our next tip is to use open questions to get customers or prospects to share details. Use these questions early in the call to get the customer to talk freely. You'll be surprised at how much information you can get from asking a simple open question. For example, you might ask, what are you looking for in a health plan? Or, what are your top priorities this quarter? And our next tip is be patient when asking questions. When you ask a question, take a few moments to allow the person to think things through and provide you with an answer. Be patient and avoid answering your own question. Many times, if you're silent, the customer or prospect will continue to talk and give you more information. Our next tip is to take notes if possible. If you're able to take notes, please do so, because by taking notes, you're creating a record to refer back to. Plus, you can use those notes to recap your conversation and help build rapport. It's also a good idea to first ask permission to take notes so the customer isn't caught off guard. Our next tip is to be polite and courteous. You don't want to agitate the prospect or customer, especially if they're uncomfortable at the beginning of the conversation. It's also very important to be sensitive to the customer's or prospect's needs and concerns that they do voice to you. Show empathy if appropriate and definitely acknowledge their concerns. Tip number 8 is to use close questions to lead prospects towards a benefit. Closed questions will help you determine if the customer or prospect is interested in the benefits of your product or service. For example, you might ask something like, is product longevity important to you? And our next tip is to ask one question at a time. Avoid asking multiple questions at once. You want the customer or prospect to answer your question, and if you ask too many, they may feel bombarded and may not focus on what you're really asking. In addition, if you ask too many sales or probing questions, the customer may feel as if you're being pushy. And our last tip for you is to use a closed question to ask for the business. For example, you can ask, can we get together next week to finalize the agreement? Another thing to keep in mind once you ask for the business is wait and don't say anything else. Just wait for the prospect to answer you. Now that we've gone through the 10 questioning tips for sales, keep in mind that those tips will play an integral part in your overall sales skills. Whether you're on the phone or face-to-face, knowing how to ask questions effectively can help you relate to those around you. When questioning, keep in mind that the main purpose is to uncover as much information about the needs of your customer or prospect as possible. So the next steps for you are to think of typical sales questions you might use and write those down somewhere where you can easily access them. Think of a variety of open and closed questions, and also think of some leading questions that tie into the benefits of your products or services. You can also help others by sharing some of these tips with them. Be a mentor for new colleagues or associates. And also, we'd like for you to practice asking questions. Try asking your peers, family, and friends how they feel you are at asking probing or sales questions. Since they know you best, they'll be able to provide you with insight on how you are perceived by others. Ask for specific feedback on your tone and how you come across in general. Now, I'd like to thank you for taking time to view our webinar today. And if you found this information valuable, please be sure to explore the other resources we've published here or on impactlearning.com. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a wonderful day.